Hey man, say man, back at it again for more moolah, more content. So in my video, the Victor Oladipo video, I was playing the timeline of Oladipo from being just a average expendable player to a star player, and we discussed how he didn't live up to these expectations of elevating his play to MVP caliber, seeing how him and the rest of the roster alone is a dark horse championship contender. So these injuries Victor Oladipo has endured, including his quad rupture that led him to missing a substantial amount of games. And I believe that the Pacers should trade him in the 2020 offseason, because once he's come back, he is no longer going to give you the same production he had in his breakout season. Now I mentioned this player that the Pacers front office should consider exchanging a trade by giving up Oladipo. He is the same player who averaged 30 points per game on good splits on mediocre team, who by the way didn't make an all-star team, while guys like Trae Young and Domantas Sabonis made the all-star team. One on a worse team and one is less productive. That guy is Bradley Beal. The Washington Wizards need to trade away Bradley Beal because he's putting up MVP numbers, but that is not leading to wins, and plus his ass is unhappy. It is unlikely the front office is going to give him help, and John Wall, once he comes back, he's not going to be the same player. That Wizards hit their peak, and right now it is time to move on, which is why in this video we're going to talk about the 3 possible trade scenarios for Bradley Beal in the 2020 offseason. I was thinking about doing 4, but I feel like 3 is enough, and it's most likely going to happen. And oh yeah, make sure y'all subscribe to my channel for more NBA info content if y'all love football and basketball, and click on the notification bell so y'all don't miss any of my videos. And that out of the way, stay tuned.
I paid my dues, now I'm a made man. I call my fame, now I'm a made man. You never see me again. I got the juice, now I'm a made man.
Now, like I said before, I'm going to discuss the 3 teams that they should consider trading for Bradley Beal. Now, all of them are hypothetical because the team that Beal is traded to can be out of our expectations. Like, for example, PG ended up in OKC, even though we thought that he's going to be traded to LA, unfortunately. So if all the teams that I mentioned in this video happen to be the case for Bradley Beal, then here are the teams that are most likely going to trade for Bradley Beal. So the first team on this list is the Miami Heat. Now, the Miami Heat is one of the most surprising teams in the NBA, and one of the reasons why is the elevation play of the majority of the players on this roster. For example, Kendrick Nunn has been sensational this year as he's averaging 15 points with around 2 rebounds and 2 assists on good shooting splits. He's an undrafted rookie who's in the conversation of Rookie of the Year. Not only that, you got players like Tyler Hero, a rookie shooting below 40% from 3, which is very good for a rookie, and Duncan Robinson shooting well around above 40% in that area too. So there are 6 players on this team who's shooting a little below or shooting 40% from 3, which is insane, led by their 2 of their best players, in Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. Now, both of them are not shooting as well as these 6 players on the roster, but both of them impact the team significantly because of their defense, especially Bam Adebayo. He is my pick to win most improved player this year. He is arguably the best interior defender in this league, a guy who can defend all 5 positions and is elite in that category. And obviously you got Jimmy Butler, who's one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA. So combine all of them, we got a dark horse finals contender as the finished product. So judging from the position they are in win now mode, and if the Heat want to go all in, they should consider trading Bradley Beal. Now y'all trying to ask how would this trade will go down. So the players they should add on the trading block is Solomon Hill's expiring contract and Jay Crowder. Now they have his bird rights, but the way he played this year, he averaged 10 points on below 40% shooting. So I don't think that they should consider re-signing him. So that is why I add him on the block. And also there's some sacrifices there. So if they're trying to get Bradley Beal in a trade, you should add Tyler Hero and Goran Dragic and a future first round pick for Beal. So to cap it all off, getting rid of Jay Crowder and Solomon Hill is a priority, along with sacrificing a promising young player like Tyler Hero and an aging player like Dragic is ideal. Despite getting Beal along with his max deal of his 5-year $125 million deal, is suitable because with him in the roster, he fits well with the team. He can become the first scoring option while easing the pressure off of him with Jimmy Butler, Kendrick Nunn, and Bam Adebayo on his side. So as a whole with Beal, they're a finals contender. So the reason why I put it this low in my list is because of Miami Heat are bottom 2 in cap space. So that's why that's the main reason why it's least likely to happen. And they have young players who are producing at a high level, so the team is probably considered developing them in the foreseeable future, and they're giving up their rival role players. So that's why. Next team on the number 2 list, number 2 spot, is the Brooklyn Nets. Now, the Brooklyn Nets has been one of the most talked about trade rumors about Bradley Beal, and I'm not too fond about this happening because they have KD and Kyrie, and without them, they're in the 7th seed in the East. If your team is in the playoff race without y'all, you're a finals contender no matter what. You got Caris LeVert, who is a borderline all-star this year. He has proved it in the playoffs, and I believe that he can be a third option on a championship contender. And not to mention, Joe Harris is an absolute sharpshooter, shooting 41% from 3. And a player who has been keeping up in the float is Spencer Dinwiddie. Although his efficiency has been a little suspect, he has been great, leading his team to the 7th seed. And if it wasn't for them, they will miss the playoffs entirely. So Dinwiddie is obviously a valuable player on this team, a 6th man of the year candidate who wish he was snubbed last year. So this team is a contender. They don't need another star player in order for them to be in the conversation. They are in there right now. And if they feel like they need to make that move, then they should add Dinwiddie in the trading block along with Taurean Prince with a first round pick to get Bradley Beal. The reason why I put it at number 2 is because they have more cap space than Miami Heat, so they have more flexibility for Beal's contract. But there's one reason why it's not number 1. It's because I don't feel like Beal is going to fit that well with 2 ball-dominant players like Kyrie and KD. So based on that, it is uncertain how these players are going to benefit one another despite having shooters around them. Now, the number 1 team that they should trade for Bradley Beal is, you get it, in my Victor Oladipo video, is the Indiana Pacers. I believe this trade can benefit a whole lot for Bradley Beal, as you got one of the best defenses in the league, as you got Malcolm Brogdon, who can shoot and defend, along with Miles Turner, a defensive player of the year candidate, and who can also space the floor too. And Domantas Sabonis is an all-star player who's one of the best post-up players in the league. And you also got role players such as Jeremy Lamb, Doug McDermott. Both of them can space the floor. So this is a trade they should prioritize on getting. The trade is simple. Trade Victor Oladipo to the Wizards in exchange for Beal. Now Beal's value is higher because he is averaging 30 points per game. So I guess you can add a role player like TJ McConnell and a 2nd round pick for him, maybe along with Troy Brown Jr., which is the Wizards need to consider trading him because he hasn't been living up to expectations as he was drafted middle of the 1st round. So the Pacers with Bradley Beal fits perfectly in their system because the Pacers need more scoring, and I feel like Beal can fill that void. Now Beal accompanies Brogdon, Turner, Warren. That eases the pressure off of him, plus a great defense set up around him, and they have so much cap space too. They can sign a max player, with Beal already signed that deal with the Wizards, and the Pacers front office can take on his contract easily. Let me remind you that the Pacers are in the same seat as last year with Victor Oladipo. Imagine with Beal on the helm. They are a legitimate finals contender, and not to mention, they are relatively young. Bradley Beal is 26 years old, and he is just entering his prime years, along with the rest of the roster is entering their primes. So don't sleep on the Indiana Pacers, because if this trade happens, boy oh boy, it is on like Donkey Kong. So recap. These are my 3 teams that are most likely going to trade for Bradley Beal. The reason why I picked these teams is because all 3 of the teams are close to title contentions, and they need one guy that can take these teams to the next level. And seeing how this dysfunctional organization in the Wizards never tried to get players to fit Beal's playstyle, let alone keep him happy, because let's be honest, despite Wall's exceptional playoff performance in 2017 that led him to being discussed as the 2nd best player in the Eastern Conference, Beal has been the most important player on this team during 2018 to now, because from 2018 to now, because he's a better scorer, better shooter, better shot creator. His play is led to more wins, in turn led them to the playoffs during 2018. So judging from that, Beal is a better player than Wall. The fact that they signed John Wall to a 4-year, $170 million deal, and before the contract kicked in, he has been a relative disappointment. Now Beal is finally in trade rumors, and once Beal gets the fuck out of DC, it's going to be easier for the Wizards front office to get rid of John Wall's contract. Thank you for watching my video. If you really enjoyed this video, then drop a like, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure y'all subscribe to my channel for more NBA and NFL content. Click on the notification bell on the right hand corner. And that's always, guys, this is the A-Man Show. Signing out.